solving rational equations is to use the least common multiple or the least common denominator in order to essentially get rid of your fraction so that you can just write the equation. So that's what we're going to do in these problems. So my first problem is 4 over x plus 3 plus 5 over 6 is equal to 23 over 18. So the first thing that we need to do is we need to find the least common multiple or lowest common denominator. So I have x plus 3. I have 6, which is 2 times 3. Then I have 18, which is 2 times 3 squared, because 3 squared is 9. So then with these, my least common multiple is going to be, I have a 2 that appears once, and then I have a 3 squared, and then I have x plus 3. So 3 squared is 9. 9 times 2 is 18, so that's going to be 18 times x plus 3. So that's going to be my LCM. Okay, so then once I find that LCM, so we can put step number 1 is to find the LCM. So then once I find that LCM, then what I'm going to do is I'm going to multiply each fraction by the LCM. So multiply each fraction by the LCM. Okay, so that means we're going to have our LCM, which is 18 times x plus 3. And that's going to be multiplied by 4 over x plus 3. And then plus 18 times x plus 3 over times 5 over 6. And that's equal to 18 times x plus 3 times 23 over 18. So if you notice in purple, I have my original, and then I'm multiplying each of them by the least common multiple, which is 18 times x plus 3. So before I go on to the next step, we're going to say step number 3 is to simplify. So what do I do when I simplify? Well, let's take a look. So right here, I notice that there's an x plus 3 in the numerator and an x plus 3 in the denominator. So those we already know will cancel out to give me 1. So these will cancel. They both give me 1. So then all I have left is 18 times 4. Notice we don't have a fraction. It's just 18 times 4. So let's look at the next set. Well, 18 over 6 will cancel. 18 over 6 will give us 3. It's kind of hard to see that 3, but that's a 3. So then I have plus 3 times x plus 3 times 5. So that's everything that I have left over once I've simplified. And then that is going to be equal to, these 18s will cancel. And so I have 23, and I'm going to write it the other way so there's no confusion. So then I have x plus 3 times 23. So by multiplying by the least common multiple, I've gotten rid of the fraction, and now I just have an extensively long equation. So now we want to work out this equation and simplify everything that we can simplify. So the first thing I need to do is 18 times 4, which is 72, plus 3 times 5 is 15. So that means I'm going to have to multiply 15 times x plus 3. So that's going to give me 15x plus 45. And that's going to be equal to 23 times x. So that's going to be 23x. And then 23 times 3, which is a positive 69. So then I need to combine my like terms. So right here I have a 72 and a 45. So 72 plus 45 is equal to 117. So I have 15x plus 117 is equal to 23x plus 69. I like to keep my x positive, so I'm going to subtract 15x from both sides. And so then I have 117, because that's 0, is equal to 8x plus 69. I'm going to subtract 69 from both sides. And so that's going to give me 48 is equal to 8x. I'm going to divide both sides by 8. So 6 is equal to x. So I got an answer of 6. 6 is not an excluded value. So of course the last thing I want to do is just check it. So I have 4 over 6 plus 3 plus 5 over 6 is equal to 23 over 18. So 6 plus 3 is 9. So I have 4 over 9 plus 5 over 6 is equal to 23 over 18. So we need a common denominator of 18. And so we already know this is 23 over 18. So 9 times 2 is 18. So 4 times 2 is 8. 6 times 3 is 18. So 5 times 3 is 15. 8 plus 15 is 23. So I have 23 over 18 is equal to 23 over 18. So that is correct. And so there you have it. All right, so let's kind of go back through the steps before we do the next problem, so we can understand what we did. So the first thing you're going to do is find the least common multiple. I'm also going to put slash LCD, so least common or lowest common denominator. So I did that, and I got 18 times x plus 3. Then my second step was to multiply each fraction by the LCM or LCD, whichever one you want to call it. And so that's what I did up here. I multiplied each one by 18 times x plus 3. And by doing that, that allowed me to cancel out the denominator so that I would no longer have fractions. And it just left me with a giant function or equation that I needed to solve. And so then I just did some distributing, adding, subtracting, multiplying, so that I could come up with 6. And then I went back to check my work to make sure that it was correct. So on the next problem, I'd like for you to try that on your own. But if not, let's do it together. And then you can try the one after that on your own.